What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and I'm back after a bit of a break. And welcome to everyone once again. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today is December 1st, 2025. Can't believe we're already to December 2025, heading into 2026 already, guys. Can you believe it? And December looks to be a very interesting month. And in fact, December looks to be the most interesting month when you really break it down. It looks to be the most interesting month of 2025. It's the last month of 2025. And 2026 will be, I think, very, very crazy. But how is the last month of 2025 going to affect the next year coming? And that's what we're going to get into today. We're going to talk about what I believe is the most important day on the calendar this year, regardless of whether something happens or not. Pearl Harbor Day 2025 looks like the most interesting day on the calendar. And I'm going to show you multiple reasons why. But before we get into that, hello to Coffee Girl in the chat. Thank you for always being here. I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Susan, also in the chat. Hello, Susan. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Not Grim. Well, thank you for also being here. Visionary Vet, thank you. I hope you guys are all amazing today. We're going to give a minute or two for some people to join in. Again, it's been, 5 days since I did a stream? Giving break for the end of the month. And we're back at the decoding work. And it's, trust me, guys, it's tiring. But luckily, there hasn't been a lot going on, really. I mean, we could talk about some things that happened over the past week, but there's some crazy things. If you guys remember the video I did with Sean, Widow's son, about the father's son, well, there's something crazy that happened this weekend with that. And I think I'm going to wait to cover that in another stream when Sean's on, because that's his thing. So there's some things that happened the last week that are pretty crazy. Hello to Dwayne. Hello to Christopher. Hope you guys are good. All right, so again, with 47 in the chat, hopefully we can get some more people, because this information is, in my opinion, must see. And a lot of you guys know about this already, but we're going to take it to another. I'm not saying that December 7th has to be a big event, but December 7th could be a turning point, if you might say. Something happens that causes something bigger, right? So just watch for any kind of news stories on December 7th, which lead to a bigger story, maybe later in the month or in 2026 even. I don't know. But whatever is going to come, I feel like it's going to be volatile. I feel like it's going to be polarizing, okay? So with that being said, let's first talk about, before we even talk about December 7th, let's talk about the biggest event of the year so far, right? The biggest event of the year so far was an assassination, okay? I mean, no one can even debate this, that this event with Charlie Kirk was the most, it was on the level of 9/11 in a way. I mean, not quite, but it was the biggest event we've had in a long time. And remember how many people I had watching during the Charlie Kirk thing? That tells you how big of an event it was. And it's just amazing to see how fast this stuff has just gone away, how little people care about this now all of a sudden, when just a few months ago, I could stream on here and get 50K views on one of my videos, right? Like, it's just funny how fast these things go away, like how fast people's memory just gets erased. Like, it's almost like this didn't happen, right? Same thing with 9/11. I mean, everyone knows about 9/11. Everyone remembers it, but it's amazing how fast people forget, and they forget how important these other events are that tie to our future. And in this case, an assassination being the most important event of the year. But the most important part of this is that this event, this assassination, was at an event called Turning Point USA. Okay, so this is specifically done for a reason. Something is turning in a turning point is coming to the USA. Okay, it's simple as that. Okay, Charlie Kirk was a warning of that. Charlie Kirk might have been the beginning of that. But the reality is that I believe that the reason that this event was called Turning Point USA is because it was all about the United States. Something is going to happen to the United States very soon, guys. A civil war, possibly. Okay? A division. A turning point, going back. And when you go back, you have to go back to the roots of the United States, which is all based off of wars, right? The Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the World Wars, all these things. And the turning point, again, has many meanings. We've talked about with Sean how it means going back to the garden, back to the Father spiritually. Well, the other meaning is the events that are about ready to take place, right? And so I want you guys to keep this in mind as we go through this decode, and remember that Charlie Kirk's assassination was a turning point of USA, okay? It was all about United States, okay? Which is why we're going to talk about December 7th and how it connects to this event. So first of all, let's just, before we even get into the deeper stuff, let's just connect the September 10th assassination at Turning Point. Let's connect this date to December 7th in a few days, okay? Let's just do a quick measurement. So if we take September 10th, 2025, the turning point of Charlie Kirk, assassination, supposedly, like I said, who knows if this even really happened, guys? I'm not saying he's even dead. Who knows, right? The point is the event happened that day, September 10th, right? If you go to December 7th, it's 88 days, okay? 88 days. Now, why is this important, right? Because the name of the event, right? The name of the event was called Turning Point USA, okay? So 88 days after that event, you have December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, okay? Now, in Gematria, the name of Charlie Kirk's company, Turning Point USA, sums to 88. So 88 days later, right? After it. But what's even crazier is the word assassinate sums to 127, which is like the date December 7th. So you guys see how it's interesting? If you go from the assassination on the Turning Point USA, it's 88 days to December 7th. So you have 88, and that leads you to 127. Remember, 127 is the 31st prime. Charlie Kirk died at 31. Okay, so just to click this here, 127 is the 31st prime number. Charlie Kirk died at 31 years old. 31 is the 11th prime number. We're going to talk about 9/11, right? 11, the master number. Okay. But going back to the 127, okay? December 7th, Pearl Harbor. Okay. 88 days later, after Charlie Kirk. That's also one mercurial year. Now, what's a Mercury year? Mercury, the trickster, the supposed planet closest to the sun, right? Supposedly has a orbit of 88 days for a year, right? Approximately 88 days. So it's going to be 88 days after the shooting, which is one Mercury year, okay? And that's going to come into play here in a little bit when we talk about Mercury years. Now, remember, Abraham Lincoln, watch this, guys. If you go from the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, right, and you go to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, look at this. Look at this. I mean, what are the odds of this, guys? From the assassination of Lincoln to Kirk, it was exactly 666 Mercury years. I don't think people are are putting enough emphasis on this. Wow. Like, this is a long time of date span, okay? You're telling me that from Abraham Lincoln to Kirk, 666 Mercury years. This was also exactly 1984 lunar phases, okay? Like the year 1984. Remember the book 1984 about the surveillance state? You remember how J.D. Vance, the vice president, is born in 1984? This all ties to all that, right? But the big thing is, it's not, and this is not extra days, guys. It was exactly 666 Mercury years from Lincoln's assassination to Kirk's assassination, okay? Now, Abraham is connected to Israel, the church. Kirk means church, right? It all connects back to the Catholic Church, the Bible, the Israel, right? But notice that it was 160 years, not just 106 or 666 Mercury years. It was 160 years and 149 days from Abraham Lincoln's assassination to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Well, 160 in gematria is the word assassination. So it's 160 years apart. You get these huge assassinations, right? So that's interesting. 160 years. But anyway, let's talk more about December 7th. We already connected this 88 days from Charlie Kirk to December 7th this year. So let's just pull up the timeline and let's just go through the main points, and then we're going to talk, and I'm going to open up the chat for more of you guys to add more things as we go through. I know you guys have some stuff to add. You always do. So with that being said, let's just show the timeline, how this all connects with the 84, right? So remember, December from the, okay, so I've already shared this, but this, if you're new to the channel or if you haven't seen this yet, let's break this down, okay? So, in fact, let me make my screen bigger so you guys can see the whole screen. Okay, so remember, when Charlie Kirk was shot, the United States was, let me just show you that. Hold on. When Charlie Kirk was shot on September 10th, the United States was 91-13, okay? 9-10-13, right? Like the date, September 10th, 13, right? Remember, the United States started with 13 colonies. And when you read this number out, you read 91. Now, well, 91 is the 13th prime number, okay? So you notice how 91 is the 13th prime, or sorry, triangular number? So when you read the amount of days between the United States founding and Charlie Kirk's assassination, you get 9-1-13, right? The United States started out as 13 colonies. I shared this in a previous video. You guys need to go back and watch that. So this is a date, September 10th, 13, right? Well, on September 10th, 13, Charlie Kirk's wife was in a music video, or sorry, she posted a comment on a music video that she was in saying, "Had a blast shooting with Tyler." You guys remember that? She's My Kind of Crazy. On September 10th, 2013, Erica Kirk posted this comment on the video where she's in Vegas with Tyler. Tyler was the one who shot Kirk. So that's how old the United States was on the shooting, right? But if we go to Charlie Kirk's funeral on September 21st, Charlie Kirk's funeral was 9-10-25 days after the United States was founded. Okay, his funeral. Well, why is that important? Because Charlie Kirk was shot on 9-10-25. Okay, you see how the date is in there? When you measure it, you get a date. 9 September, right? 10th, 25. Okay. So what are the odds that Charlie Kirk's funeral was on the day the United States was 9, 10, 25 days old, and that's the date he was shot? 9, 10, 25. You guys see how perfect that is? So that tells you that something is up with the dates if you're measuring from the United States founding to now. There's something going on with that. There's obviously something working there. Okay? This is proof of that. So that leads me to this point. So now that we know this, that Charlie Kirk's funeral was 9, 10, 25 days after the United States was founded, if we go forward to December 7th, 88 days later, the United States will be 9/11/01 days old. Again, this is the point of this whole video, okay? The United States will be 9/11/01 days old on December 7th. This is the date the United States was attacked in 2001, okay? So let's go back to the timeline. So here's from the United States birth to December 7th. You get a total of 9/11/01, okay? Again, this leads us to December 7th, 12/7, right? I told you the word assassinate equals 127, okay? But this is important because we're getting the date 9/11/01 between the United States and December 7th, we're now going to be looking at the date 9/11/01, which is when the towers went down, okay? So what buildings fell on 9/11/01? Well, it was buildings 1, 2, and 7. So this 1, 2, 7, remember, Pearl Harbor was the first 9/11, essentially. Look at this. I got 127. I swear, YouTube literally does this every stream. I have 127 of you in the chat, apparently. Who knows how many's actually in there? There could be 100 more. Maybe there's only 20 people really watching this show. Maybe it's just showing me 127 because they want it to be a ritual with numbers. I don't know. But it's so weird, guys. How many times have I been doing a live stream? I'm talking about a number, and literally that's how many people are in the chat. I do it like almost every stream, okay? Almost every stream it happens. It's beyond, and there's proof of that. Go back and watch my streams for the last 2 years. Almost every stream. So that tells you there's something going on here. That's not a coincidence. Every time I'm talking about a number. This is like literally the number I have up on my screen right now, and that's how many people were in the chat. It just changed to 130 now, but I just can't stress to you guys enough how crazy that is, right? How much that happens. But anyway, the United States turns 9/11/01 on 12/7. Buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell on 9/11/01. Now, remember what I missed before, which a good subscriber shared with me in one of my later streams. 12 times 7 is 84. Well, it just so happens that this December 7th will be the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Okay? So what are the odds, guys? From Pearl Harbor to this year, 84 years. The date, 12/7. 12 times 7 is 84. So that's interesting, right? 84 years later. Okay? Now, remember, this all ties back to the United States of America, which equals 84 in gematria. Now, we just had the first pope elected from the United States of America. And his name he chose was Leo. And it just so happens that Pope Leo equals 84, like United States of America. He's the first pope from the United States of America. This year, he got elected. And Pope Leo equals 84. But not only that, guys. The 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor is 84 days after Pope Leo's birthday. His first birthday as the first American Pope, 84 days later, is the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. That's perfect, guys. This is why they chose him. Okay, it's very clear. Why did they choose him, and why was his birthday perfectly aligning with 84 days before Pearl Harbor's 84th anniversary? Now, his name equals 84, Pope Leo, and the Catholic Church, which he's the Pope of, that equals 84, like United States of America. So think about that. 12 times 7 is 84. 84 years later, 84 days after the Pope's birthday, Catholic Church 84, Pope Leo 84, the United States of America 84. The towers on 9/11 went down at 840. Got it? Get it? 846. Kind of got the 84 in there. 846, right? In order to say the time the towers went down, the first tower, you have to say 84. 846. So this 84 is absolutely astronomically important. This is the important number here. This is why this alignment works so perfectly, because it's all about this 84. Now remember, how many people died over the last months who were 84? I've talked about this number of times, but this month or last month in November, you had 5 or 6 people, celebrities, die at the age of 84 or connected to the 84. And remember, a woman named Kirkland, Elizabeth no, it wasn't Elizabeth Kirkland. What was her name? What was the name of that actress? Hold on. Sally Kirkland died at 84 last month. Okay, right here. She died on November 11th at 84. She was in a movie called 84 Brady about football, right? Well, this December 7th is a football Sunday. So how about that, guys? This coming huge day, December 7th, is a Sunday, and and it's the 84th anniversary, and it's a football Sunday. It'll be the NFL's Week 14. Remember, the word 14 is all about dead. Look at what the word dead equals. See how the word dead equals 14 in both ciphers, right? So week 14 of the NFL will be on December 7th, the 14th week of the year. We just got Pope Leo the 14th. Dead equals 14. Okay? Something's going to be possibly dead, right? Now, remember, this connects back to the former president, Barack Obama, who's born on 8/4. Okay? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but trying to stay on topic here with this December 7th. So one more time, the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Pope Leo it's 84 days after his birthday. Pope Leo 84, the Catholic Church 84, United States of America 84, right? 12 times 7 is 84. The tower started to go down at 846, right? But this is where it gets crazy, guys. So we already measured from the founding of the United States to this coming December 7th, right? But how about we go back 66 days when the Illuminati was founded? Remember, the Illuminati was founded just 2 months before the United States was founded, okay? The Illuminati was founded on May 1st, 1776. So how about we do a date measurement from the Illuminati to the same date, December 7th. What do we get? We get 9/11/66 days from Illuminati to this Pearl Harbor Day coming up. Well, that's another date, guys. 9/11/66. So what I did was, I was like, oh, that's interesting. From the Illuminati to December 7th is another date. It's 9/11/66. So what happened? So what if we go from 9/11/66, the days encoded from the Illuminati to the Pearl Harbor, and we change it to a date, 9/11/66. And what if we measure from 9/11/66 date to the actual 9/11 event? How many days is it? Look how many days it is, guys. So you use the number you get from the Illuminati measurement. You turn it into the date, 9/11/66. You measure from 9/11/66. It's 12/7/84 days to the actual 9/11. Guys, that's unbelievable. I'm talking about the date 12/7, which is the 84th anniversary this year. I measured from the Illuminati to that date. It's 9/11/66. When we go back to that date and we measure to 9/11, it's the same numbers, 12784. This is the 12/7 is the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Not to mention that it was the Bavarian Illuminati. Look. The Bavarian Illuminati, founded on 5/1/1776. Bavarian Illuminati equals 127, like the date, like assassinate. So on top of that, the gematria of Bavarian Illuminati is 127, right? You're kidding me, guys. Measuring from their founding to this date it gives you the date, 9/11/66, and then you measure from there to 9/11/01, it's 12784. This is literally perfect, okay? Literally perfect. This is how you know we're living in a matrix, right? It's astronomically impossible, okay? So not only will the United States be 9/11/01 days on this year, the Illuminati will be 9/11/66. From 9/11/66 to 9/11/01 is 12/7/84, like literally telling you the date. 12/7, the 84th anniversary. If you think about how I just did that, guys, you should be mind blown. Because it proves, it just proves that we're living in this coded reality, right? But it gets even better, guys, because we have to connect this to the number 62, right? Because I don't mean the number 62. I mean the number 60 also, right? Because 84, we're talking about the number 84, right? 84 is the 60th composite number, okay? So 84 has a relationship to the number 60. Well, we just finished the 60th election, and Donald Trump equals 60. Okay, let me just start with that. 60 is a huge number, okay? Well, maybe because 84 is the 60th composite number, right? Donald Trump equals 60, okay? He won the 60th presidential election, and then he was inaugurated in the 60th inauguration, right? Donald Trump equals 60. Well, 84 is the 60th composite. Well, in 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected. Think about that. So here's the point, guys. If we go, again, from the founding of the United States to the actual Pearl Harbor, the actual event, Pearl Harbor, 12/7/1941, right? That was the actual event, Pearl Harbor. You're going to get 60,421 days. Okay? From United States to Pearl Harbor. Okay? Again, 60,000, like the number 60, 84 is the 60th prime, 421. The Pope died this year on 421. That's the Queen's birthday. Interesting. So then, guys, if we go back the same amount of days, 60,421 days from this upcoming Pearl Harbor, guys, you land on July 4th, 1860. Let's read about what happened in July 4th, 1860. Again, that is, how am I getting that number, that date? I'm going back the same amount of days from the United States to the Pearl Harbor actual event, and I'm going back the same amount of days from this upcoming Pearl Harbor Day, going back 60,421 days. It lands on July 4th, 1860. Let's read what happened in July 4th, 1860. July 4th, 1860 would be the last national celebration before South Carolina became the first state to formally secede in December of that year, initiating the chain of events that led to the American Civil War in 1861. Wow. So if we go back the same amount of days from Pearl Harbor to the United States founding, we go back the same amount of days from this Pearl Harbor, we land on the year 1860. 1860 was the last national celebration before South Carolina. South Carolina, guys, tell me in the chat, why is South Carolina so important? Why is it crazy that it's Carolina? What have I been talking about all year? Charlie Kirk. He's the big event this year. Let's just type it in. Is Charles another name for Carolina? The name Carolina is derived from Carolus, Latin for Charles. In fact, South Carolina is home to Charleston, South Carolina. It's a double Charles. Charleston, Carolina. It's two Charles. So if we go back the same amount of days from this year, 12/7, to 1860, it leads us to the last celebration in South Carolina before they became the first state to secede and start the Civil War. Let's just type it in. Was South Carolina the first state to secede? Yes. And look at the date. Yes, South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union, formally doing so on December 20th, 1860. So when we go back from December 7th, this year, the big date, you land on July 4th, 1860. A matter of a few months later, in 1860, on December 20th, in the month of December, Carolina became the first state. The state with the capital city of Charleston. And I started this whole video connecting the date, September 10th, and the assassination of Charles James Kirk. Again, this Charles theme is so big. Charlie is, in my mind, one of the most important names that you can follow. If you see somebody named Charles, it's coded into this, okay? Charlie, Charles, Carolina, Carol, Carl, Carlos. All these names are the same origin. They all mean free man, right? Like Charlie Kirk was wearing a freedom shirt. It's all about freedom, guys. And why did South Carolina secede from the Union in December 20th, 1860? They seceded because their increased hostility as part of a non-slaveholding state. Guys, they seceded from the Union because they didn't want people to be slaves. Right? Sorry, they did want people to be slaves, right? I got it backwards. So this is all about freedom versus slavery, okay? Charlie Kirk's whole thing was about freedom. His name, Charles, means free man. Charleston seceded from the Union because of slavery, which is an issue of freedom, okay? So the dates that we're aligning to are all pointing to the same theme. And remember, if you guys missed the beginning of the video, I started this video connecting Charlie Kirk's assassination to the December 7th date coming up. And now I've just found that if we follow this maze, this trail that I just put out to you, we land 60,421 days, just like the United States was founded 60,421 days before Pearl Harbor, the event. you land on 1860, right? But not only that, guys, July 4th, 1860 was the 84th anniversary of the American independence. Just like this year is the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Okay, so let me just read this. July 4th, 1860 was the 84th anniversary of American independence, widely celebrated across the United States, but with underlying tensions related to slavery and states' rights that foreshadowed the impending Civil War. The date was just months before the pivotal election of Abraham Lincoln and South Carolina's subsequent secession. Okay? So again, let's go back to the 84 and 60 connection. Remember, 84 equals the 60th composite. So these numbers have a mathematical relationship. Okay? Remember, Donald Trump equals 60. He just got elected in the 60th presidential election. But Abraham Lincoln, if you spell it right, Abraham Lincoln, look at the gematria. Guys, look at this. Look at the gematria of Abraham Lincoln, 60 and 84. The two numbers I'm talking about this whole stream, 60, 84. That's the gematria of Abraham Lincoln, 60, 84. Wow. In reverse, in forwards, it's 60. In reverse, it's 84. Again, the number 84 is the 60th composite number, okay? It's also the 7th tetrahedral number. Well, December 7th, right? It's December 7th is the 84th anniversary, okay? So again, what are the odds that it was Charlie, who seceded from the Union to protest Abraham Lincoln, who equals 60 and 84? And now this year, Charles Kirk, Mr. Freeman, he gets taken out just after the 60th presidential election. Now, who was elected in 1960? Who was elected in 1960, guys? Yeah, that's right. The other president who was taken out, JFK. So Abraham Lincoln, elected in 1860. John F. Kennedy, elected in 1960. We just had the 60th election. I'm telling you, this is a clue that things are about ready to continue, okay? Is it going to be a civil war? They just released that movie a few years ago called Civil War. I mean, maybe we should do a measurement from that. Hold on. Let me just look. That was in 2024. You guys remember this movie? It was on April 12th, the anniversary of the Civil War. Look, guys, it grossed $127 million. Are you kidding me? I didn't even look at this movie until now. It says this movie grossed $127 million. Are you kidding me? I never looked at this movie yet. And you're telling me that the movie supposedly made $127 million at the box office? And now I'm talking about the date 12/7? Okay, so let's just measure from the release dates of this movie to this 12/7 date. Let's see if we get anything. So the original date was Pi Day. Look at this, 2023. Okay, that's interesting. 633 days. I think we need to go from the other date because this is the date it released in the United States. Yeah, April 12, 2024. So let's go there. $604 days. Okay. Well, I can't tell you that's interesting because 604 is a huge number. Well, 64 is 8 times 8. I have to think about that a minute, but I'm sure there's something to that because 604 is actually the gematria of the Knights Templar full name. But yeah, anyway, the point is, look, this came out on 60 date numerology. 60. Again. So 60, Civil War. Does Civil War equal 60? No. Let me look. I thought something equaled 60, but I must be tripping. I don't know. The point is, we just had this movie last year. Look, Charlottesville. Are you kidding me? In the movie. Guys, the movie was 109 minutes long. Like Charlie Kirk was shot on 10/9 in the UK. And this movie talks about Charlottesville. Charlotte again. Charlotte is a form of Charles, okay? I'm telling you, it's just Charlie everywhere. Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. Big shout out to Widow's Son in the chat. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. December 7th, 25 is 160 years, 7 months, and 22 days after Lincoln's death. 160 like assassination. He died at 7:22. How about that, guys? Look. Lincoln died at 7:22. Let's just search this. That's like pi. What time did Lincoln die? So look at this. Lincoln died at 7:22, right? So if we measure from April 15th, 1865, look at this. It's 667 Mercury years. Remember, because it was 666 Mercury years to Charlie Kirk's death. But look, it's 160 years, like assassination equals 160. Assassination 160, right? 160 years, 7 months, 22 days. Guys, Lincoln died 160 Lincoln died 160 years and 7 months and 22 days before, and he died from an assassination at 7:22. And that's how many months and days is after his assassination. 7 months and 22 days. Okay? Wow. Oh, man. Wow. Anyway, let's keep going. I got way more to share here. There's way more. Okay, this gets bigger. Okay, so remember, assassinate equals 127. The date is 127. Okay, buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell. Pearl Harbor was on 127. 127 is the 31st prime. Charlie Kirk was shot at 31. Okay, guys, 12/7, Pearl Harbor Day, will be 127 days after J.D. Vance's birthday, the vice president. Is J.D. Vance going to get taken out? I don't know. Maybe. But what is the chance of that? I'm doing all this measurements, and J.D. Vance will be 127 days after his birthday. Okay? I mean, how perfect is that? And remember, the word assassinate equals 127. But not only that, guys, J.D. Vance went to Yale Skull and Bones, where the secret society Skull and Bones was founded. He went to Yale. Okay? Well, Donald Trump, from the day he took office in the 60th presidential inauguration to December 7th, is 322 days. What? Wow. Think about that. $322 days after the 60th inauguration, and 127 days after J.D. Vance's birthday, and the date is 12/7. Yeah, and J.D. Vance is a Leo, born in Leo, right? We have Pope Leo. Remember, the last person to see Pope Francis alive was J.D. Vance. So, again, this connects perfectly, right? 127 days after his birthday, which was Tisha B'Av, by the way. J.D. Vance's birthday this year was Tisha B'Av. We know Tisha B'Av's connected to the towers, Solomon's temple. But just the fact that it's 300 and guys, the astronomical odds that it would be 322 days after the inauguration and 9/11/01 days after the United States was founded, the same day, okay? That's crazy. Think about that. You measure from the United States being founded 9/11/01 days to December 7th, and then you measure from Trump's 60th inauguration, like Abraham Lincoln equals 60, like Donald Trump equals 60. I think Charlie Kirk equals 60. Did I miss that whole part? Doesn't he equal 60? Yeah, I forgot, guys. Charlie Kirk equals 60. I don't know why I forgot to add that in here. So Charlie Kirk 60, Abraham Lincoln 60, Donald Trump 60. But that's not even it, guys. Super Bowl 60. Super Bowl 60 is coming up. All right. And remember, Bad Bunny is performing at Super Bowl 60. I already talked about how this connects to the moon code, the moon killing code. But yeah, Super Bowl 60. And who did they just announce is going to be performing at Super Bowl 60, the national anthem? Guys, look at this. They just announced this yesterday. Who's performing the national anthem at Super Bowl 60? Look at his name. Are you kidding me? They chose a guy named Charlie to sing the national anthem this year in Super Bowl 60. Look right here. Charlie Puth gets Super Bowl national anthem gig. Of course he did. Of course it's a guy named Charlie singing the national anthem when Charlie was shot at America Turning Point, USA. Okay? I mean, it's astronomically impossible. Charlie Puth. But look who also, remember when Charlie Jones died last month and he wore the number 84? Or sorry, Bob Trumpy. Remember when Bob Trumpy died? And I covered it. It was the first death that connected to the 84s. Remember this? Bob Trumpy? Like Trump dying? He died at 80, but he wore the number 84. Okay? Well, remember the same day that Bob Trumpy died, the Bengals player named Charlie Jones returned a kickoff for a touchdown. And remember, Bob Trumpy was an announcer with a guy named Charlie Jones. Well, who's the other person? Super Bowl halftime or Super Bowl performers. Charlie Puth and Coco Jones. Look at this. They just announced these performers. Brandi Carlile. Carlile is a form of Charles, guys. So Brandi Carlile is a form of Charles and Charlie Puth. And look at this, Coco Jones. How much have I been talking about the name Jones? What's been the two most big names I've talked about this year? Charlie and Jones. And look at the two performers that just got announced. Charlie and Coco Jones. Like the football player from last month, Charlie Jones, who returned the kickoff. Okay? Absolutely ridiculous. Really ridiculous, guys. Let's just read this. It says, Brandi Carlile, again, another Charlie. Coco is short for Carolina. Are you kidding me? I didn't even look that up. What is Coco short for? Yeah, look at this. A less common but still used option is Caro or Carolina. Her real name's not Cara. Her real name's not Carolina though. Her real name is wait, what is her real name? Coco Jones. Courtney. But look, she's from, oh my gosh, guys. She's from South Carolina. Of course she is. Of course she is. Guys, I just did the whole decode about how if you go back 60,421 days from this Pearl Harbor, you land on July 4th, 1860, right before South Carolina seceded and started the Civil War. And the girl that just got announced with Charlie, her name is Coco Jones, which can be short for Charlie or Carolina, but she's from South Carolina. Columbia, on top of that, like Columbia, like, I mean, again, please hit the like buttons, guys. I have 85 likes. Does this stream deserve 85 likes? Is that all it deserves? I'm giving you a history lesson here, and I'm showing you how it all connects. And apparently it's not as mind-blowing as I thought. If you guys don't like it, it's you don't have to hit the like button, but I'm telling you, this is crazy, guys. Everything I've been talking about is confirmed in just this. What are the chances the national anthem is going to be sung by Charlie and Coco Jones will take the stage? I talked about these things. Brandi Carlile, and Carlisle is a form of Carl or Charles. She's going to sing America the Beautiful. Oh, wow. You see the America theme? But you also understand that just because all this aligns with December 7th doesn't mean that something's going to happen on December 7th. But I think something is definitely going to happen between December 7th and Super Bowl 60 on February 8th next year. It all points to that time frame, okay? Something crazy is going to happen, okay, in that time period between this time and the Super Bowl, okay? And what will Coco Jones will be singing Lift Every Voice and Sing, okay? The Black National Anthem. Oh boy. So you see this, you get the two white people. You see how racist these people are behind the scenes? You got the two white people singing the America songs. And I just told you that this all connects to the year 1960 where South Carolina seceded because of slavery. Okay, well, what's that connect to? That connects back to the black and white theme, right? That's why you have Coco Jones singing America the Beautiful, or Lift Every Voice and Sing, which is supposedly the Black National Anthem, okay? But you have Charlie singing the national anthem, okay? So Charlie Jones. I mean, could this be a clue for the Bengals? I don't know. Could this be a clue for the Cincinnati Bengals? They have a player named Charlie Jones. And again, Charlie Jones returned a kickoff the day that Bob Trumpy died. Remember, I told you this. Wait, Charlie Jones was born October. Guys, Charlie Jones was born the same year as Coco Jones. Hold on. So Charlie Jones, remember, let me just show you why Charlie Jones is so important. This is the big thing, okay? The name Charlie Jones is coded with the 9/11. Watch. Charlie Jones is the perfect 9/11 code. Look at this. In ordinal, Charlie Jones equals 119. In Jewish or Latin, Charlie Jones equals 9/11. Okay? You guys got to go back and watch my Charlie Jones video. Okay? But now you have two performers in the Super Bowl being Charlie and Jones. So how did I know this was going to happen? I didn't. But of course, this is the people they would choose. But look at this. This football player, Charlie Jones, born in 1998, October 29th, 1998. Coco Jones, the singer for the Super Bowl now, She's born January 4th, 1998. So let's see how many days apart they're born. Oh, interesting. Hold on. Okay, well, the first thing I can say here is that these two people, Charlie Jones and Coco Jones, are born 42 weeks and 4 days apart. Guys, this is Donald Trump's number. His name in Hebrew equals 424. Donald Trump touched the Western Wall in Israel at 424. Okay? So these two guys, these two people, born 42 weeks and 4 days apart. Okay? But look at this. Charlie Jones was born on 156 date numerology. Well, 9/11 is the 156 prime number. So, yeah, that's just super interesting. Now, another thing to look at is I've been talking about the Indianapolis Colts and their quarterback, Daniel Jones, right? Remember how, you guys know this, I've had all the Indiana Jones connections, right? Indiana Jones. And look at where Indiana Jones was born. Like, look where he was born. Carolina. Again. So look at when Daniel Jones was born. He was born May 27, 1997. Coco Jones was born 227 days after Daniel Jones. 222 days after Daniel Jones. Well, what does Daniel Jones' name equal? Look at his full name. Guys, Daniel Jones' full name equals 222. And Coco Jones, the singer, was born 222 days after Daniel Jones, whose name equals 222. Where's Joseph Acquaviva when you need him? So is this a clue for Daniel Jones? Or is this a clue for Charlie Jones? For the Super Bowl team, at least. The Bengals have less of a chance to make it because they're not doing good. But there's also a riddle here for the Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones. So the Cowboys owner is Jerry Jones. The Cowboys just beat the two teams from the Super Bowl last year in 2 weeks, the Eagles and the Chiefs. So there's also a riddle here. I believe there's going to be a Jones connection to the Super Bowl. It's undeniable at this point. It's just a matter of which Jones is it going to be? Is it going to be the Jerry Jones versus Jones versus Neil Jones? I don't know. Remember, Jones is a form of John, and this all connects to John Cena, which I haven't even talked about yet. But anyway, we got off topic. Let's get back on topic. Got a few more slides, and then we'll wrap this up with some brainstorming here. But anyway, from the day that Donald Trump was born to this December 7th date, Trump will be on his 330th Mercury birthday. Guys, earlier in the decode, I showed you how important Mercury was. Right? Remember how Lincoln was shot exactly 666 Mercury years before Charlie Kirk? On the day that Charlie Kirk was shot, Donald Trump was on a Mercury birthday. He was on his 329th Mercury birthday right here. So 88 days later, which is one Mercury birthday, it will be December 7th. It will be Trump's 330th Mercury birthday. Okay. Now, 33 is the master number, right? But also, if you measure from the death of the Pope, we get another 33 to December 7th. Whoops. So check this out, guys. It's 33 weeks and 0 days since Pope Francis died, and Donald Trump turns 330 Mercury years on the day. And again, this is important, guys, because what are the odds that Charlie Kirk was shot on Trump's 329th Mercury birthday? And now on December 7th, it will be the next Mercury birthday. Okay. And the Pope will be dead for 33 weeks and 0 days. And let's just look at some gematria of 330. Look what equals 330. The word God equals 330. Trump will be 330 Mercury years. And gematria, God, 330. I believe Satan, 330. Okay? But just to let's look quickly at some other three. I know there's some more. Dog, 330. Judas, 330. Putin, 330. That's interesting. Bones. Heaven is 330. So Donald Trump going to be 330. Heaven. December equals 330. This will obviously be in December. New Age, 330. JFK Jr. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot here. Could be interesting, right? Anyway, I just wanted to take a look at some 330s because that's an important number for this upcoming December 7th. So anyway, that's the slides. I got some notes here. Let me jump into the notes, and anyone in the chat that has anything else to add, please do so right now. We are at an hour into the video, so no more than another 30 minutes, and we're going to try to knock the rest of this out. All right, so let me check my notes because I didn't build all the slides I should have, but I have notes. All right, so we talked about the 88s. Let's just go from 9/11 to the actual date. Okay, let's just go from 9/11/01 to December 7th. Of course, it's going to be 24 years and 88 days since 9/11/01. Okay, that's interesting. But it's going to be exactly 324 moons. Okay, that's interesting because Yale Skull and Bones, which I already connected in this video, Yale Skull and Bones it just turned 324 years old, right? So that's interesting. Also, another interesting thing here, going back to the 88s, right? It will be 88 days after 9/11 or 88 days after Charlie Kirk was shot, right? Well, if we go from Trump's shooting on 7/13, it's going to be 512 days. So from Trump shooting to December 7th, 512 days. Well, 512 is 8 times 8 times 8. Wow, interesting, right? Because Donald J. Trump does equal 888. Also, Jesus in Greek, 888. So you see this, guys? Donald J. Trump, 888, okay? If we go from Trump's supposed earshot to December 7th, it's 512 days. That's the sum of 8 times 8 times 8, right? Also, notice the kill numerology. When Donald Trump was shot, it was 64 date numerology. On December 7th, it's going to be 64 date numerology. When Charlie Kirk was shot, it was 64 date numerology. That's 8 times 8 is 64. Okay? So all these dates, Donald Trump shooting, Charlie Kirk shooting, December 7th, they all have the kill numerology because in gematria, the word kill equals 64, 44, and 17. It's all the same gematria, all the same. It's all the same, guys. These numerologies are coming back again, and these numerologies usually result in something bad happening. Okay. Now, got a few more things to hit on here. We touched on the 88s and the 888s, okay? This one's big, guys. So let's go back to when Trump declared the P word. 3/11. So I want you guys to see how big this is. Are we going to get another virus? I don't know. But, the date that Trump declared the P word, it was 3/11/2020. So if we measure from that to December 7th, it's exactly 71 moons. Why is that important? Because in Gematria, hold on. I got that wrong. What is it? There it is. So COVID pandemic, 71. Okay. So what day of the year was the COVID pandemic declared? It was declared on the 71st day of the year. Okay. Well, how many moons is it from that declaration to December 7th? It's exactly 71. Huh. Perfect. 71 day of the year, 71 moons later, COVID pandemic, 71. Okay. 64. I was just talking about the 64. Okay. So that's interesting. You got a perfect alignment with the pandemic. Okay. What's next? I got more notes here. Let's measure from King Charles, because King Charles' birth, he's a big part of this as well, because he was tied. He was tied to the Charlie Kirk thing, right? King Charles. Well, look how old King Charles is going to be on December 7th. 421. Like his mother was born on 421. So you got that alignment. That's just a quick one, but what else? Trump will be 29,029 days old. Let's just look at that for a second. Okay, so the day before, so a couple days before, Trump will turn 29, right? But that's also 983 lunar phases. So Trump turns 983 moons a few days before December 7th on 12/5. 983. Why is this number so important? Well, let's just do a quick search here. How many times is Jesus mentioned in King James Bible? Oh boy. Right here, guys. I don't know where. So anyway, the specific name Jesus. Oh, I know it's 5. It's 983. Trust me, I looked it up. The name Jesus is mentioned approximately 983 times in the King James Bible. Okay, 983 times. Well, Trump is going to be 983. It's going to be his 983rd moon since he was born. Okay, so that's interesting. That he'll be exactly 983 right before this. Okay. And then he'll turn 330 Mercury, right? Like God equals 330. So there's that. I'm just going through all my notes. Got like a few more. Actually, guys, I'll leave my notes to that. I think there's more, but I think this is a good time to to start wrapping this up. And in the chat, guys, anyone who has any other connections, please let me know. Now, there's a movie coming out December 19th called Avatar. Somebody mentioned this in the beginning. So I'm wondering, Gyllenhaal, of course, Jake Gyllenhaal, he played Donnie Darko, okay? Remember, Charlie Kirk was shot on Frank the Rabbit's birthday from Donnie Darko, okay? Now, on December 19th, which is the birthday of Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal. It's Jake Gyllenhaal's birthday, okay? You got this movie, Avatar, Fire and Ash. So we have the fire theme coming in, Judgment. But yeah, I mean, I haven't looked into this yet, but I'm sure this ties into this. Okay, reminds me of the Phoenix in a way. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do a standalone decode on this. And remember, this guy's name is James Cameron. Remember how this whole thing was connected to Charles James Kirk, and how James Cameron Kirk was connected to Kirk Cameron, like the End of Days, like the Left Behind. So there's a connection here to this same theme of the guy who directs this movie. His name is James Cameron. It's pretty clear connection to Kirk Cameron and James Kirk. Yeah, James Cameron also connected to Terminator. Let's just see the gematria of the movie. Oh, look at that, guys. It equals 888. Of course. We just talked about that. So this is Time Traveler equals 888. Donald J. Trump, 888. Jesus in Greek equals 888. So that's interesting. Fire and Ash, though. Judgment, Fire and Brimstone, Fire and Ash. Market crash. Market crash. Maybe that's what happens on December 7th, guys. We get a market crash. Or a plane crash, maybe. Who knows? But the point is, this date looks important. And let's not forget the last part of this this connection that I have already talked about. John Cena. His retirement match. His retirement match is coming up a week after December 7th. And he's going to be on December 7th. John Cena will be. So if you take everything I already showed you guys and then you add this to it, it just really makes it interesting. How old will John Cena be on December 7th? He'll be 1770-60, right? I talked about the 60 here. But look, he'll be 1776 exactly from his birth to the date December 7th when the United States is 9/11/01. Okay. So what's the odds of that? Because John Cena is all about salutes and the troops, right? Again, America, right? This is John Cena. This is what he did through his whole career. Look. So the guy that's all about America, the troops, salutes, he's going to be 1776 days old on that big day. It's just too perfect. It's just too perfect. And then he's going to retire. On top of that, he's going to retire the next week, right? he's going to retire just a few days later after 23 years. Okay? The last time is now. Okay? The last time is now. He's wearing the shirt. The last time is now. What does that mean? I told you guys from last year on that as soon as John Cena retired, you would get something probably connected to this, a big event. And I still think it will happen after this guy retires. I don't know if it will happen a day before or just happen on December 7th or it'll happen 2 months later. I don't know. But this seems to be the clue for our next last time is now. And remember, the WWE predicted the Twin Towers coming down with Hulk Hogan, who died this year. So yeah, the last time is now. In the Bacon cipher, it equals 201. And we know how important that number was to the Twin Towers, to everything, this number. So yeah, guys, I think that's enough. Maybe I'll do a part 2 if there's anything else that comes up. But I think we've touched on all the important connections. Visionary Vet says YouTube restricted him. Yeah, that's sucky, YouTube, man. We know how YouTube is. We know how YouTube manipulates my numbers too, right? You saw that today. Your 47th birthday is December 7th, huh? Wow. Crazy. See, you're probably organically aligned to this. And guess, guys, let me end it here. Guess who's flying on December 7th to Germany, where the Bavarian Illuminati was founded? And again, I didn't choose this. I didn't want to fly on this day. But this is the only day that my mom could work it out. So I'm flying on this date, guys. Cody is flying, just going to type it out so people can see, to Bavaria on 12/7, the day the United States turns 9/11/01. So guys, wow, look at this. It equals 588. It's one last off of my number, 589. And that doesn't mean anything, but, and I'm not saying something's going to happen, but I will be in DC on December 7th, and then I'll be going to Bavaria. So just look how organically this is all connected, guys. This is not just man doing this. Bavaria, right? This is where I'm going. And, you know, that it's just crazy because this is where the Bavarian Illuminati was founded, okay? And I talked about they were founded in 1776. And again, I've been to the building where the Illuminati were founded. It's nothing special, but I've been there. But yeah, I will be going from Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, right here, on December 7th. I will be flying from Columbus. I will be taking a flight to DC. And then I will be hopping on a flight to Bavaria. So you guys see how crazy it is that this is the day that the universe or the God brought me to this travel date, right? So yeah, I mean, I'll be fine. But the point is, it's all connected, guys. I believe I'm taking United and Lufthansa. Those are the two flights, airlines I'm taking. But neither of the flights are Boeings, which makes me feel safer. I don't trust Boeings very much, but whatever. I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but I'm just saying it's just such a crazy day. Yeah, 127 is the kill date. We talked about that. It has the same numerology as Charlie Kirk's date and Donald Trump. It's the kill date. Ready Player One takes place in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, I know. I knew that. From Weapons movie to 12/7 date. No, I didn't look at that. Let's look. The Weapons movie came out on 8/8. $121 days. It's interesting. 121 is the gematria of revelation. So that's interesting. All right, guys. I think we'll wrap this up now. Thank you guys for staying on with me this whole stream. If you stayed on, and please share this video. And either way, if something happens on December, I'm not predicting anything specific on that day. I'm just showing you how important that day is, how important December is going to be. Okay. Big shout out to Widow's Son. Me and him will be doing a stream at some point again here soon. I was 25 days old when Pope Francis died. Wow. Are you kidding me? Wait, so I'm flying on 1/27/25 and this is how old I was? Hold on. Guys, I don't really want to think badly about this date that I'm flying on this date, but like it's really crazy, especially what Sean just shared. Look how old I was when Pope Francis died. Guys, look how old I was when Pope Francis died. I was the date that I'm talking about. Are you kidding me? Guys, are you kidding me? I didn't even know this. Well, maybe I knew it, but I think Sean told me this before, but guys, the date that I'm flying, the date that I'm talking about, that's how old I was when Pope Francis died, 33 weeks before this date. One, 2/7/25, right? That's the date. 33 weeks later from that is when I'm flying. You see, guys, this is not just, it's not just this is like, we're all coded into this. I'm telling you, if you all looked at your own life, you would see this. But like, this is the date that I discovered. Like, I didn't discover it. Sean actually was talking about it before I was, but like, I really like brought it to the prominence because I found all these other connections with it. And now this is how old I was when Pope Francis died. Like, what's the odds of that? Just astronomically not probable, man. Not probable. So thank you, Sean, for sharing that. Also, shout out to Catherine Zeta-Jones. Or no, not shout out to Catherine Zeta-Jones. Shout out to Heart Chakra, Casey Jones Astrology, otherwise Bobby. He says Catherine Zeta-Jones and Donald Trump are born exactly 24 lunar years or 288 lunar months apart. So there's your Jones connection, guys. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Donald Trump born exactly 24 lunar years apart. Anyway, I've got to think. I just got to think about what I just found with my own birth. How old will I be on this date? I'll be 12955 days. Interesting, man. 171 days after my birthday, the 18th triangular number. I don't know. I'm not going to decode myself too much here on live, but the point is, guys, we got a lot to think about this month. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the content, you found it, if you found it any helpful at all, or any kind of learning you got from this, please hit those like buttons. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But if you guys want to support the channel, buy me a coffee link, post it at the top of the chat. It's always greatly appreciated as I begin my travels again. But the most important thing is, if you want to support the channel, hit that like if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next video, probably tomorrow or the next day. So I love you all. God bless you. And we'll see you in the next one.